Well, you guys, Cassie Laundrie has had it with protesters being outside of her home. She has refused to give any more interviews with the media, but she was willing to come outside to speak with the protesters and to answer a few of their questions alongside with her husband. So we're going to go ahead and watch some of the clips.
And I am losing my parents and my brother and my children's aunt and my future sister-in-law on top of this, and you're not helping.
Why your parents? Why your parents? You're talking about Christmas.
They're not talking to us either.
Why aren't they talking to you guys?
If I knew, I would say. I don't know.
Do you think they're involved, your parents?
I don't know. At Fort DeSoto on the 6th, we got there at around 2 o'clock, and we left around 8 because the kids had school the next day.
On the 6th?
On the 6th. We only stayed for about 6 hours.
Who was there?
My mom, my dad, my brother. We had s'mores, we had dinner.
What did Brian say anything about Gabby?
We had our kids there. Nothing came up.
He didn't say anything about Gabby?
No, we've told the FBI everything.
Did Brian go...
The world does not need to know what the FBI knows.
I would have to agree with her here when she says that the FBI told her not to speak to anybody about the information she provided them. As much as we want justice for Gabby, as much as we want the information on where Brian was, who all is potentially involved, we have to help protect the integrity of the case. If this goes to court, she could be a key eyewitness. And so we need to make sure that this information is protected so that the FBI can do what the FBI does.
So when he came here September 1st, right? You said he came... What did he come here for?
My parents wanted to surprise the kids to pick them up at school. I did not know that Brian was with them when we had previously planned to hang out with them. This is not what we want to be doing. This is not how we want the world to find out when we're angry and upset. But I can't have my kids be crying for 3 days in a row.
What did the FBI take out of the house here? Like what?
Nothing.
They came here though.
Yes.
During.
We met with them multiple times.
You met with them multiple times. Yeah. Did they ask you for like polygraphs or anything like that?
No.
No.
The media ended up misconstruing what I said when they asked me if I had seen my brother. Like I said in the beginning, they didn't say, "Have you seen Brian?" It was, "What's the weirdest thing about this all?" It was, I haven't been able to speak to my brother. I tried to contact them after this. I tried to contact my family after this. I hadn't been able to speak to my brother.
Do you know about any additional burner phones?
I have no idea.
So you don't know nothing. Have you ever seen Brian hit Gabby?
No.
Have you ever seen him fight?
No.
Have you ever seen him hit any woman?
No, I've never seen him be abusive or angry in anything. No.
You know that we talked to neighbors. We canvassed your parents' neighborhood.
Yeah.
They've heard screams coming out of your parents' house on multiple occasions.
Your parents' home.
Screams.
I don't know what to tell you about
Might
that.
have been our kids. We lived there for a year.
Oh, you lived at the home in Wabasso?
Yeah,
Gabby and Brian lived with us.
when they were in New York.
And you've never seen them fight? No argue? No?
Of course,
But nothing.
Everybody bickers, but nothing like what no
But they have a
domestic
constitute
anything.
domestic violence.
No, yes, or else we would have done something about it.
Right.
Like, I don't stand for that. I was in a bad relationship similar to that. What's saying has happened. I wouldn't let that happen. We're
Not the evil monsters were made out to be.
yeah, I'm in the boat where I'm getting ignored by my family and thrown under the bus by my family's attorney.
Why would he do that? Like, why?
Protect his client because she's not their client.
So I'm just as mad.
Did they have a storage shed, Gabby and
They have a storage locker.
Brian? Do you know where it was?
I have no idea.
Do you know what date your brother flew back, that your dad paid for the plane?
Didn't even know he paid for the plane.
Did he fly back?
Yes,
From
he flew back.
like around like what, the 17th or something?
Put it into their house.
Around like the 17th or something?
Yeah,
After the fight?
He got here on the 17th. I don't know what day he left.
Did you see him on that trip?
Yes.
What was discussed? Anything? Was he discussed about?
They were talking. He was telling me where they were going next. I FaceTimed with Gabby and the kids on that trip. I didn't.
Did he say he got in a fight with Gabby? He didn't talk about that incident?
Just was a surprise to us too.
Yeah. We're unfortunately in the dark as much as everybody else. My parents' lawyer really screwed me over by saying that he just
Well, I
stopped
saw
by.
the comment that
he
he
did
made.
not just stop by on the way home, and I was livid, and I'm not speaking to anybody.
Yeah.
Do you think Brian killed Gabby?
I don't know. Silence was not guilt. Silence was
Well,
the
nobody
FBI
came here
telling us
until
not
the
to.
lie.
The sooner he's found, the sooner this is over for us.
Yes.
So tension is really high at this time when it comes to Cassie Laundrie. People feel like she is lying now because 1 minute she's saying this, the next minute she's saying that. 1 minute she's saying she didn't see him, she didn't speak to him, and the next minute she's saying she did. And this is all allegedly. I wasn't there, so I don't know. Her parents, I think she's even looking at her parents cross-eyed at this point and really confused as to what's happening. I find it very interesting that she's not under that same cushion of protection that, you know, the parents are under, Brian is under, as far as having that lawyer. And that kind of tells me that she probably is not in the loop about what's happening as much because she's not under that cushion of protection. If she had more information about the parents, about Brian, I definitely believe that they would make sure that the lawyer was representing her as well, and he's not. So that at least speaks volumes to me. It might not to you, but to me that is a big deal. Another big deal to me is that they reported their son missing. Okay, so let's try and think about this for a second. You reported your son missing. And the other day, they flew a drone over top of the Laundrie, the parents' house. They were out in their backyard gardening. Okay? Their daughter-in-law, future daughter-in-law, just had a horrific, I don't even want to say it. Their son is now allegedly missing and has a warrant out for his arrest. And they're outside with protesters screaming justice for Gabby, gardening. Like, if that doesn't scream psychopath, I don't know what would at this point. Me as a parent, if I was in their shoes and completely honest and innocent, and I really have no idea where my son is, the last thing I would be able to do in this situation is go outside and garden. I would be losing my mind. Losing my mind. Okay? And how would they know if their son is even alive at this point, if that's what truly happened? If he left the house and might be out in the woods, he could have blew his brains out. And you're outside gardening at a time like this? Very, very strange behavior. And through all of this, Cassie stated that her parents aren't even speaking to her. Why wouldn't they speak to her? I don't understand that one. Even if you don't want to speak about what is going on, if they called her, they could have easily had just said to her, you know what? We're not going to talk about what's going on right now, but I just want to see how you're doing and how the kids are doing, how your husband's doing. I want to FaceTime with the kids for a little bit and just kind of, catch up with you. But to not communicate with your own child and grandchildren during this time, I find that extremely odd. It seems like Cassie is probably the black sheep of the family. That it's a narcissistic home and she's the scapegoat. And I would be very interested to see like Dr. Phil or someone do an interview with Cassie and really find out the dynamic of that family, because it's just bizarre. I definitely think that Cassie's the more honest, open one of the family. Your opinion might be different from mine, and that's completely fine. You're allowed to have your opinion, but I think it's a possibility that she lied. about seeing Brian to the public. She very well could be lying just to lie to protect herself. But I look at it more as one of two ways. Either the FBI told her to not tell us this information, and so that's why she felt comfortable lying to us about it. Or the other reason could be because she doesn't want us carrying on in front of her house like we're doing right now. I want people to keep in mind that she could be a potential witness for the prosecution if it were to go to court. And so we have to keep those kind of things in mind and, again, help preserve the integrity of the case, because we want to make sure that this is a well-sealed case and that all of the evidence, all of the witnesses are protected and their statements are protected as well. If we continue to stick our nose into things way too much, that's when things can potentially get sloppy, messy, and end up turning the case on its head. And so we don't want that. We want to make sure that whoever is the one who committed this crime, which we all have our opinions, our very strong opinions on who that is, it's no secret. We want to make sure that they are prosecuted and they do not get away with it. So we want to be helpful, but sometimes we do things out of ignorance, not realizing that what we're doing is more harmful than good. And we also, I know we have lost our trust in the law enforcement and the FBI with this particular case, because they allowed Brian to escape and now we have no idea where he is. And now we're out chasing after him. People are putting up $100,000 bonds to find him, spending millions of dollars to go look for him in swampy areas. It's just ridiculous. And it could have all been avoided by making better decisions. So I understand why people feel the way they do. But let's also make sure that when we find Brian, there will be no way that their lawyer will be able to turn any stones over. Team Justice for Gabby. And you guys, go support the family. Go support their foundation, GabbyPetitoFoundation.org. You can head over to their Twitter account, and I will leave it in the description box down below, and go support them. Peace and blessings, you guys.